Bonjour. This video is going to teach you about the basic form of Passé Composé in French, and I'm only teaching just the very simple ER, IR, and RE conjugations used with the helping verb avoir. So in case you already know all that I'm talking about here, you can understand exactly what I'm presenting today. Okay, so le passé composé in French is the name of a tense, and it is the past tense. That's what the passé composé means. It means the past tense. And so I always like to start things off in English. So let's go with the phrase in English. I had talked. I had talked with my friend. So technically this is, I is the subject. Had is the helping verb. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit here. Had is the helping verb, and talked is the past participle. In English, a lot of the times we just add an ed. So that's the past participle. And so if you think about it, if you are going to change the subject and say you have talked. So this changed a bit, talked didn't. Or he has talked. So this changed a bit, but notice the past participle didn't. The same is true in French. The helping verb changes. That's what gets conjugated, if you will. The past participle does not change. It stays the same. So if you can just draw with me real quick, grid here. So we're going to do 3 verbs. And then we need our regular people here. So we're going to have je, tu, il, elle, and on, nous, vous, and then il and elle, pluriel. Okay, so here's how these verbs work. So we're going to pick a very common ER verb. Let's go with parler. A very common IR verb, we'll go with finir. And then a common RE, we'll go with vendre. Okay, so here's how this works. You have, of course, the subject, which is je. The had or have, the verb to have in French is avoir, and that's actually what you use. So for je, it actually is going to be with a J apostrophe. And you're going to have, I'll put it all together. You're going to have, for example, j'ai, so there's your avoir conjugation. Then what you do for ER verbs is you take off the ER and you add an E with the accent aigu. I'll zoom in a bit on that for you. So I'll have this parle, and then I took off the ER and I add my E with my accent aigu. So this is pronounced j'ai parlé. The past participle, just like it did up here, the past participle is going to stay the same. Just the helping verb is what changes. That's what gets conjugated. So here we're going to have tu as parlé. Again, this stayed the same, that conjugated. Il, elle, or on a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. And il or elle, pluriel, ont parlé. So again, notice how this all the past participle stayed the same the entire time. This is our talked, if you will. The helping verb is what conjugates, and you use avoir. All right, so moving over to finir. Let me zoom out a tiny bit. So we still have our subject here of je. I'm going to keep it just because it goes together with AI as j'ai. What you do with the IR verb now is you take off the IR, take that off, and you add an I. So you're going to say j'ai fini. J'ai fini. And this means I have finished. Or also I finished. J'ai fini. So tu as fini. Il a fini. Nous avons fini. Vous avez fini. And ils ont fini. So I have finished, you have finished, he has finished, we have finished, you guys have finished, they have finished. And again, notice my past participle didn't change, only the helping verb conjugated. Okay, and I'm going to zoom it out a little bit so you can still see my subjects for Vondra. Okay, so for Vondra, we're still going to have our j'ai, still uses avoir. For a RE verb, you take off the RE and you're going to add a U. That one's a little bit strange. So here I have j'ai vendu. J'ai vendu. So this means I have sold. Tu as vendu. Il a vendu. Nous avons vendu. Vous avez vendu. Et ils ont vendu. So those are your typical conjugations using avoir in the past tense, the passé composé, for ER and IR and a RE verb. Just so you know real quick, any of these, they can mean, for example, j'ai parlé can mean I had talked, and it can also, actually, I'm sorry, this should be I have talked. I have talked. Thank you. There we go. So this j'ai parlé can mean I have talked, or it can also just mean I talked. So we can, in English, we omit this and we can say I talked. So the past tense can mean both I have talked and I talked. And so this could be I have finished, I finished. Or I have sold, I sold. Real quickly below, I'm going to show you how you would make use this negatively with ne and pas. So I'll just take the il pluriel form here. So what you do is you already have the, for example, il or el. The verb that conjugates, this is what I tell my students, the verb that conjugates is avoir, the helping verb. That's what conjugates, it changes. So that is the verb that you surround with ne and pas. So for example, ils n'ont pas parlé. Ils n'ont pas parlé. I'll zoom that in a little bit for you. So that means they haven't talked, or they didn't talk. Okay. Then for fini, same deal. You're going to say ils n'ont pas fini. They haven't finished. And then I'll do one different. I'll try the new this time. So you're going to have nous n'avons pas vendu. They haven't sold. Or, sorry, we haven't sold. So anyways, that is the very basic, I like to tell my students, the first step of the past tense. I've got 3 steps. I'll make 3 videos for it. But this is the first step, just a common ER, IR, and RE verb that all use avoir as their helper verb. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much for watching.